we want to step in the B2B part of the B2B2C play, where we want to leave the B2C for the experts to handle. So we will fix your capital requirement, your risk management requirement, and your payment related issues. We also will help you with your KYCs.
So for this sports bookmaker, all they need to worry about is finding their niche, where they're going to operate, create whatever betting or game that they want to create, and then go to market. And that's it. And forget about everything else.
Absolutely.
Let's begin with the part 2 of this podcast. And let's get deeper into SPORT.TRADE, which really is the platform play for sports betting.
Yes.
So, Saurabh, just take us through what exactly led to the idea that SPORT.TRADE is a gap that you can come in and fill.
As you were walking in the journey on Sportico, and we faced certain problems in terms of scaling it up within India, as well as taking it out in different countries, and we realized that there is a big gap in the sports betting world or sports trading world, gaming world, which can be addressed by the use of blockchain and AI, and hence began our journey for SPORT.TRADE, where we are facilitating the sports book owners or the affiliates to only focus on their customer acquisition, retaining their customers, giving them a good UI UX, whilst not being bothered about where the capital will come from for the risk management, and how do you manage the P&L swings of your book on a daily basis, and at the same time managing the payouts related issues. So these are the 3 things which we are sorting out for all the aggregated affiliates by a common infrastructure layer. So an example, if you are a restaurant owner today, you are competing against many restaurant owners, just like a betting shop is, and the user has multiple options to go and dine in different restaurants. Now, whether you as a restaurant want to focus on where you will get your gas connection from, or where you get your vegetable supplies from, or your water supply from, or you just want to focus on getting the customers to your restaurant and giving them a good experience. This is what we want. We want to step in the B2B part of the B2B2C play, where we want to leave the B2C for the experts to handle.
Understood. So you created a platform where even competitors of Sportico can come and use your infrastructure.
Absolutely.
While I understand that Sportico is quite unique, it's a sports trading site and not really a fantasy team site.
Yeah.
Understood. But if, let's say, there were a Sportico competitor to come, they would be able to use the SPORT.TRADE platform and set it up.
Yep.
Okay. Now let's say I'm a betting house. What are the requirements for me to be able to use the infrastructure that you develop? I'm a betting house. I have a website built. I have 1,000 users who come and place bets in a certain way. If, let's say, I were to move to SPORT.TRADE, what are the advantages to me?
Okay.
Interesting. Drop my own website and come to SPORT.TRADE and get everything, or bring all my users to SPORT.TRADE platform.
So basically what we will make sure that once a betting affiliate comes to us, let's say you come to us, we would want you to adhere to the regulatory compliance in your jurisdiction where the users you are fetching from.
So essentially you'll check all my licenses before you let them onto platform.
Yes.
It's not anybody who can come and start betting.
It's not a plug and play, it's permissionless.
Understood.
But it is still subject to certain conditions, which is the KYC of the users, which is very important.
Okay.
Then you have to still keep your UI UX of your website. What our smart contracts will come and do we will sort out the payment issues with your users, your 1,000 user base will hit up a trade on your website, and then that will trigger a smart contract which the user will not even see or be aware of, but his payments and everything will be instantaneous, number one, to his wallet, which is kept on your betting website. And you as an affiliate don't have to worry about the price, where is it coming from, whether the price is fair or not. We'll give you a very liquid price. Your capital requirement, right now the big worry of a small bookmaker is to offload their risk. Now risk offloading is a massive challenge, and these guys go to the exploitative very
money lenders,
sports book houses, which charge a very hefty commission to cover the sports risk that they are holding. So to get rid of this risk, they don't have to worry about this risk. They don't have to worry about the capital that they have. The P&L swings on a sports book are massive. Someday, being a book affiliate or a bookie, you will make some losses because some players someday will win against you. Someday you will make money, but on an average, you will make money for sure. You don't want these swings of P&L. If you reduce these swings, you can scale up much faster. Have 10,000 users and not 1,000. So we will fix your capital requirement, your risk management requirement, and your payment related issues. We also will help you with your KYCs. So you will retain your own clients. You will decide how much money you want to make on them. Everything will be it will be your user interface, and the infrastructure backbone will be provided by Sportico in terms of APIs, smart contracts, payment gateways, everything.
I see. So for this bookkeepers clients, there's not even a website URL change.
Yeah.
All that happens for them is they continue to play using the money in their own wallet, which is actually with the bookkeeper, but everything is getting transacted through the smart contracts that SPORT.TRADE offers.
Yeah.
And in turn, what happens is that for the bookkeeper, there's very little risk of the chargebacks, the cushion money that they need to keep. All of that gets taken care of.
The risk of getting wiped out is also eliminated.
I see. The bookkeeper essentially continues to make the money the same way that they were previously making.
Probably more, because now he can make more money because we are not charging him any cost.
Okay.
When he goes to offload this risk to a big bookie, the big bookie will exploit him. Whereas over here, the prices are centralized, coming from centralized pool. Everybody is made the same price, and it's very fair and very sharp. Number one. Number two, he also makes more money because of the payment or the chargebacks, which are not a problem for him, right? So he's always worried about that the payment which his users are making could be in jeopardy. Whereas powered by smart contract, all the payments are always transparent and settled and trustworthy. Thirdly, with this problem going out of the window, you can scale up much faster. You can onboard more, and you don't have to spend your energy and bandwidth on managing operations of a sports book. Whereas you are a sports book, your job is to get users.
So for this sports book maker, all they need to worry about is finding their niche, where they're going to operate, create whatever betting or game that they want to create, and then go to market, and that's it, and forget about everything else.
Absolutely, yeah. Get relationships, skills in place.
Interesting. So I can make out how SPORT.TRADE is great for affiliates who are currently using traditional technologies to power the betting or the sports fantasy leagues that they are offering, or even it'll probably even my guess is it'll probably even help the brick and mortar bookkeepers to very easily do a plug and play using your system.
Absolutely.
And bring everything online and not worry about
absolutely
a lot of this physical infrastructure and things like that. Now where do you make money if you're offering everything at I don't think you're charging any transaction
very minimal
costs.
Operational costs.
Exactly. So what is in it for you, for the company, for SPORT.TRADE?
So basically this company that we are making is also, even the ownership will be a DAO. So it's a decentralized autonomous organization, where the ownership of the company will be preserved with the community. The stakeholders of SPORT.TRADE will be the utility token holders of SPORT.TRADE, and these are the people who own this casino or the sports book. So the governance rights we will conduct the regular Ask Me Anything sessions where we will involve the community. We'll give them the governance rights will be given to the community, and it will be a community-owned casino. Now, how we make money basically will be from the appreciation of the currency. The entire ecosystem will be powered by our own utility token, which is SPQ. And people who want to be an owner of the casino can pledge their tokens with us, and they can win the proportionate share of the margins. So this is how we expect this. The more demand will come in as the casino grows, as the sports book grows bigger, people will stake more money, and the SPQ's demand will rise, and the SPQ price will rise.
So who do you count as this community? Of course, affiliates who are there, using the services of using the infrastructure of SPORT.TRADE. Who, let's say, I am not one of those people. and I still want to be a part of this community. In what capacity can I come on board?
So anybody who buys our currency or engages on so you can join our waitlist on our website. There is a Discord channel, there's a Twitter handle. We are planning to do some airdrops in the future for the early adopters of SPORT.TRADE, and these people will have an entire plan where you can get more community members. So we will reward them for that job. Community, essentially anybody who holds SPQ tokens is a community member.
Okay.
And he can benefit from SPORT.TRADE's performance in future.
I see. So all of this is subject to SPQ becoming the worldwide standard for sport transactions.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe, tomorrow even Nike and Adidas are accepting SPQ to, for you to be able to buy their merchandise. What is exactly your plan to take SPQ to, the levels that you are envisaging?
So our plan is to grow the affiliates and get their business and solve their problems simultaneously.
And how do you get more and more affiliates on? What's your go-to-market strategy?
So we plan to go to the gaming events. There are lots of gaming events happening in the world. One of the biggest one is called ICE convention. It happens in London. We went and attended this time also, and we have got some ready affiliates who are very much happy to come on board. We have more than about 5 to 10 affiliates who are already onboarded, and we are talking to many more. And hopefully once the product is ready, these guys actually are quite eager to come on board, and because we are solving the problem which actually is restricting them to grow in their business.
Absolutely. So basically the idea is to get more and more affiliates on board, and that's what is going to do the trick for SPQ.
And community.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the other leg of go-to-market is to get more and more community members. So even your investors are your community now in that sense.
Investors will also be our community.
Okay.
Investors will be some of the community, but the main community is when it goes to mass. So our idea is to go with that. So we have got different handles, as I'm saying. We have Medium handle, Twitter, Discord, Telegram. So all these are more the social medias that the Web3 audience goes and watches.
Okay.
We will conduct different spaces, events on live events on Twitter, and podcasts and stuff. And all these things will give us visibility to our community that something is coming like SPORT.TRADE, and they should be joining here. So although our token is not live right now, nobody can buy our currency as of now, but how somebody can take part in the community is just by joining the waitlist or joining our Discord channels and get updated about how the project is progressing.
Before I get into a couple of other technical aspects of our discussion, let's bring the regulators in for a second. You already mentioned that sport betting, even fantasy sports, they are very heavily regulated. Regulators traditionally take the conservative route. They would rather you don't bet than to encourage betting. I guess that'll continue to happen until the regulators, the government is satisfied that people are doing it responsibly. How does this regulation piece, how much of that takes your mind share? So let's say you have 100 minutes of thinking that you do. How many minutes of thinking do you spend on regulation? The other part is what worries me is it's not just one regulation, one geography's regulation.
Yeah.
SPORT.TRADE intends to be in all the countries of the world, right? So there's maybe 200 jurisdictions that you need to worry about. How much of sleepless nights does that give you?
Oh, that's a very good question, I must say. Yeah, so that was one of the reasons why we came across the next idea of SPORT.TRADE coming from Sportico.
Okay.
As you rightly mentioned, regulatory adherence is a cornerstone of our ethos, and we wanted to make sure that we don't cross the line in any jurisdiction. And fortunately or unfortunately, India was our first country, which is not an easy country to go in for real money gaming or calling yourself. When you are onboarding customers, there are so many checks. RBI is really out there to make sure that payment gateways don't onboard any illegit gaming company. So this is a great thing in India, I must say. I really appreciate the framework in India. It's not that any company can come, get the payment gateways and bank account, and you're good to go. It's huge task, and we went through all that. And so to prove to everybody that you are a game of skill is not easy. So there is a gaming body in India called All India Gaming Federation, which gives you a certification of game of skill.
Yes.
But that is not just necessary, but not sufficient. And then we realized that this is just India. Although we have fought a big battle, but yeah, we have to spend a lot of our energy and efficiency in just sorting out licenses. And then we were like, when we go on to different geographies, how will we ever think about getting to Australia or UK? Their licenses will take us years. So we thought that why don't we, rather than seeking licenses from each geography, because we wanted to be fully compliant with the regulators, we thought that why don't we let the people take their own license,
become enablers for people who already have
exactly
these licenses.
Yeah. So we wanted to enable these people with blockchain and AI to solve their problems. So basically, we are not a full-fledged Web3 startup or a blockchain company. We are just enabling a Web2 traditional business of sports betting, which is a $100 billion business globally, using and making it more efficient with the blockchain technology. We are just trying to do that.
Understood.
And when you also ask one more question, is that how the regulatory landscape is all over the world. So it's very interestingly, it's very vague in many places. There are some countries where the market is regulated, such as, you can count them on the fingers: US, Canada, UK, Australia, Singapore, maybe India is also grey. But there are many countries, like UAE is also regulated, Western Europe is regulated. But then I talk about many places where there is no betting regulation. There is any betting company can go there, get their users, because there is no licensing requirements. So Eastern Europe, LATAM, Southeast Asia, even some countries in Asia, Western Asia. I mean, there's a huge, like Turkey, and there's a huge amount of countries where there is no regulation.
No regulation.
Which is, I don't know whether it is good or bad for us, but we will still go with the main space that we get is where we get to step into the regulated markets, which are UK, Canada, and otherwise we would have taken years to penetrate into those countries.
So it's very interesting you say that there's, the entire platform will be serving very heavily regulated markets, some markets which are partially regulated, and a lot of markets which are not regulated at all. Having said that, I think the platform will still need to position itself as a platform that offers the kind of trust that bettors would ultimately come, and they would know that they're going to ultimately get paid. I'll give you an example. If you remember what happened in the election that President Donald Trump won, there's a lot of heat that Facebook had to take to allow its platform to be used by certain organizations who were manipulating the electorals.
Right.
This time around, before the election, suddenly there's deep fakes, and there's there's a real problem of deep fakes where anybody can be saying anything on a video. And already I noticed that platforms like YouTube, Facebook, they're coming up with self-regulation in that sense to discourage the use of their platform, because they know that ultimately they'll run into trouble somewhere. I think that it's something like that you need to find yourself a positioning. SPORT.TRADE needs to position itself in such a way that there's some amount of self-regulation that allows only the responsible players to become its affiliates, and not anybody can come on this platform and misuse the platform, and because it's probably going to look very bad for you. A news on a particular platform from one geography can travel to the other geography very quickly.
Yeah. So that's a very, very important point. Although we are at an arm's length from the user, because user is giving money to the affiliate, but
so is Facebook, right?
Yeah. That's a very good example you used already.
Yeah.
So we will make sure that we adhere to the regulatory requirements, and this is also a very deep work that we are anyway going into. Like, what are the KYC requirements of a country? They all differ in every country. So KYC and do the due diligence of a customer, the licensing, these are all the requirements which is very geography specific, and we have a team dedicated for it, which is deeply looking into what are the requirements in what geography before we onboard an affiliate.
Understood.
Are they complying to those requirements?
And you'll possibly have to an extent, take responsibility where the markets are not very well regulated, where you say that, okay, sports trade is such a trusted name that, people would not mind.
That's a brilliant thing you said. Yeah, of course. We have to build that trust.
Yeah.
Then we can further build on that trust.
So to an extent, blockchain technologies, Web3, it does bring in that element of trust. So can you take us through what exactly blockchain and Web3? So I understand that SPQ is obviously going to reside on blockchain.
Yeah.
But how about Web3? How is Web3 going to revolutionize the sport betting industry?
So there have been some attempts on the Web3 side, and there are some sports betting companies on the Web3 space, but they are more like prediction markets. Now, how they operate is that it's a peer-to-peer matching. And when it's a peer-to-peer matching in a very unsophisticated user interface, it is really a big deterrent for a traditional Web2 sports bettor to come to Web3 sports betting.
So in very plain terms, what exactly?
So I mean to say that in a Web3, when a sports bettor from traditional Web2 sports bettor comes to Web3,
Web2 means a database plus a website.
Yeah, Web2. Okay, sorry. I mean when I say Web2, I mean any affiliate today.
Okay.
Which is in the traditional world of sports betting.
Right.
There is an affiliate, then there is a user.
Yeah.
Now this user is accustomed to getting a very sophisticated and a user-friendly interface, whereas the Web3 is failing to capture the imagination of this sports bettor and giving that experience.
Because sports bettor only cares about the interface and specifically the sport that is being offered. He doesn't want to get cluttered, and the Web3 interfaces are very nerdy, very Web3 oriented. So that's one problem. Second problem is that the liquidity is not enough. There are not enough people who are in sports betting and on Web3 together also, right? So the intersection is there, but not that much. That's another challenge that Web3 people are facing. Now these Web3 betting companies are not able to attract the Web2 bettors or the traditional sports bettors to come to Web3 because they are not very sophisticated, as I said. Where SPORT.TRADE comes in is that we are only giving infrastructure layer to the Web2 operator business the way you are doing, just the same way. Okay.
Just use our technology.
Understood. Let's take another step back. How is Web3 different from Web2, and what makes Web3 more trustworthy than Web2?
Web3, first of all, there are three main pillars of Web3. It's trust, transparency, and traceability.
And why? What is it about Web3 that makes it more trustworthy?
Interesting. So basically, everything on Web3 is done via smart contract. Whatever agreement we do is put on a smart contract, which is proved by the community of people. So there is whatever, it's binding. Nobody in the world can change it. Even a SPORT.TRADE cannot change the smart contract which has been hit by.
So essentially, it can't be hacked.
It can't be hacked. It can't be.
In simple terms.
It can't be mutilated and it cannot be changed once it is fixed. And your payouts are not in control of anybody. So in a Web2, it is very commonly seen that bookmakers don't pay money to the bettors don't pay money to the bookmakers. Both ways there is a lack of complete broken down trust. Whereas Web3 can be a massive problem solver in that space.
So Web3 in that sense is like an escrow account where everybody's put their money in, and depending on the outcome, the money will definitely be paid.
Yeah, it's trustless.
Okay.
Basically.
Okay. So that makes Web3 a far better technology to use when people are so far apart and there's already an element of mistrust. Which also means that SPORT.TRADE, the affiliates who will come onto SPORT.TRADE, they are going to be those trustworthy affiliates who do intend to pay their users.
Very good point. Yeah.
So any affiliate who has this funny business in mind, they can't come on SPORT.TRADE and thrive, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't just take your money and run away.
You can't take your money and run away because everything is done by smart contracts.
Interesting.
So we will deter and we will rather encourage SPORT.TRADE. Once it flourishes, it will encourage healthy bookmaking and a trustworthy ecosystem where bettors are.
So in a lot of ways, you're already, just by the nature of your technology, you're already offering that kind of regulation that regulators expect companies to have.
That's a good
which is
point.
not possible with Web 2. All the traditional fantasy gaming players
because
who are out
everything
there.
is opaque there.
Understood.
So here everything is transparent. How many bets are being placed against which, on what team, everything, the entire database and the entire trade ledger is decentralized. Anybody can come and watch it.
Good.
So how much money is Sport Trade making? How much money is who's making? Whether everything is transparent. That's what we want to bring to the world.
That's great. That's great. I think Sport Trade in that sense solves a lot of traditional problems that betting has been a bad boys game. Sport Trade, I think, is in a position to change that.
Yeah. We believe we will bring more fairness and transparency to the entire ecosystem.
So I can't wait for SPQ to come. Let's now, there's been a very heavy discussion, very interesting discussion. When can I buy my SPQs?
You can pre-register for the waitlist on our website, SPORT.TRADE, and we will keep updating our community as to when the SPQ will come. But as we speak, we expect early next year to launch SPQ as a currency. Until then, we will do some raises. The fundraising will happen, but that will be more from the institution side. But community is always welcome to join the early adopters, and we have an entire algorithm where people who refer to more people to come in
are going to get rewarded.
Yeah, they'll be rewarded, and we have an entire calculation as to how many SPQs you'll get in the future date.
I can't wait to get my first SPQ.
Thanks, Kaji. Thank you very much, Gagan, for giving me this opportunity to come on your channel. It's a great pleasure for us, and I would like to also thank my co-founders, our team and our partners who have helped us in this journey and have been very instrumental to bring us to some level, and we'll keep focusing on continuing to work very hard with them.
The entire industry, I'm sure, doesn't have as strong a Web3 team as Sport Trade does.
We are fortunate to have that, Gagan.
That's great. That's great. I believe it's any venture, you can have any idea. I think unless you have the right team, you're not going anywhere.
Absolutely, totally. I mean, it's all you can only do a little. You can only do limited stuff. You need the entire backing of the people that you are surrounded with.
It's been a great conversation, Saurabh. I think you've opened our eyes to a completely new world. The mission that you've taken upon yourself is great, which is to bring trust and transparency to an industry which has been known as a bad boys industry, and maybe once hopefully when you become the gold standard in sport currency, I'm sure there's sky's the limit for you.
Thank you very much for your blessings.
All the best, and great conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Likewise. Thanks.